Hi everybody, and welcome to Age Friendly Chelmsford. This is Debbie Suriani. I'm the director of the Senior Center. I'm also the co-chair of the Age Friendly Committee in town, and I have some wonderful guests along with my co-hosts today. Lisa Maroney, of course, is here again with me every month.
Yep, here we are doing
Nice to see you, Lisa.
Another important episode.
And Lisa's part of the Age Friendly Committee as well. So our guests today are a big part of the Age Friendly efforts in town. We have Jen Melanson, who is the Community Services Coordinator and also a member of our Age Friendly Committee and works through Town Hall. And then we also have Captain Danielle Koutsoufis. I said it right.
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
Right. Welcome, Danielle. It's
Thank
so
you.
great to have you.
Thank
And
you.
you've been involved in the Age Friendly Committee with us. You've been helping us out for a little while visiting on some of the meetings. And we worked with some of the other events at the Senior Center. You've been a big part in helping us with the hoarding disorder task force and the buried in treasures. We've been working all together in that way. So it's been wonderful. So it's great to have you both. Thank you so much for
Thanks
coming
for
to
having
the
us.
show.
Yeah.
It's awesome. All right, so we have some special events. We are celebrating Pride Month. So we have you here because you're helping to sponsor some really special events in town in the coming month. We wanted to give everybody a heads up on some of the great stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
So first of all, we have just a little bit about what Pride Month is all about.
Yeah,
So-
I'm going to let Danny take that one because she's really knowledgeable about the history of Pride Month.
So we celebrate or we observe Pride Month within the month of June because it kind of coincides with the start of the Stonewall Rebellion. Stonewall Inn was a bar in New York City where a lot of the LGBT community was free to hang out. And they were constantly being raided by the police department for all sorts of moral violations or whatever. And it was a pretty brutal process. And at one point, they decided to fight back. And it became a riot, unfortunately, but so that's why we mark Pride Month with, in the month of June, because that all happened within June. But more so, it represents LGBT people like myself just being proud to be who we are and making, that we're not in that closet anymore. And you know what, I don't intend to go back. So.
Well, we're really happy to have you as part of our community. You're a captain in our fire department and a wonderful part of our community and been very helpful to a lot of people that we've worked with, including ourselves, including myself personally. So, thank you. It's wonderful to have you.
My honor. Thanks.
And so the thing about, so I'm going to start asking some of the questions. I've seen a few things I'm on Facebook, of course, because I'm a suburban mom. but on social media, when some of these events that we're talking about that the town is sponsoring have been advertised, there's been a little, some folks have not been as nice as others. Some are wonderfully welcoming. Some have made some beautiful comments about that this is great for the town. We've had some naysayers and some nastiness, unfortunately. But what I'm trying to do here is say, here's a place for curious, respectful questions. So my question is, and what I'm seeing, on Facebook and on social media is, what place does the town have to do this kind of event? Why does it have anything to do with, say, community services coordinator's job to run a drag show?
Yeah, that's a it's a really great question, Debbie, and one that I'm happy to answer. And I think, if we look really broadly from a very broad perspective, we know that the town of Chelmsford supports not just the entire community of Chelmsford, but also the individual populations within the community, right? So we know that Chelmsford has a lot going on for seniors, a lot going on for veterans. There's a lot going on for children and for families, lots of different subsets of the community and the population within the community. So doing something to commemorate Pride Month and to celebrate the LGBTQ plus community is not out of line from any of the other things that we do, like the monthly Veterans Breakfast or any of the senior center events that happen or any of the school events that happen that celebrate the school community. So there's that. The reason why I'm involved and I've kind of undertaken this as part of my duty in my office is because my role as community services coordinator is to provide services to the community, very literally, right? But if we break that down and look at it a little bit more specifically, part of my role is to provide support to members of the community, and not just individual members, but families and groups of people. And my role is meant to be sort of a safe place for people to be able to come and talk about whatever issues they have going on and to get services and to get help with those issues. And then the other piece of my role is that when we don't have a service that is available to a certain sector of the community, then I try to develop a program or a service that fills that gap, right?
Yep.
So prior to a few years ago, Chelmsford was not really on a large scale acknowledging Pride Month. And we heard from members of the LGBTQ plus community that they, didn't always feel like they were welcome in the community. And, the select board even acknowledged this a few years ago and held a listening session specifically for the LGBTQ plus community to come and share their thoughts. And they, the members who spoke up at that meeting overwhelmingly stated that they wanted more overt signs from the town that Chelmsford is a welcoming place for all people. Yeah. So I've kind of taken it upon myself to follow up on that listening session that happened a couple of years ago and to continuously meet with folks in the community who are concerned about these issues and want to see more stuff happening. Plus, these are super fun events for everybody, not
really
just
are.
the LGBTQ plus community.
I
These are
went
for
last
everybody.
year, and it was a beautiful event, classy, and it was really fun.
Yeah.
And it was a fun place for people to feel very welcome.
Yeah.
And I didn't find it, raunchy or anything. It was really a fun time.
Sold out, right?
It was really, it sold
Yes,
out.
we,
It sold out.
we turned away people at the door.
Yeah.
We set out to sell about 160 tickets, and
Yeah.
I mean, it
We
was.
packed the place.
So there's
Yeah.
definitely a need.
Oh, yeah.
And because we're on the age-friendly show, I want to specifically brag about the fact that we have special senior-priced tickets for the evening adults-only drag show. And last year, we sold out of those senior-priced tickets first. So, we made it available, and the people came, and they wanted it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We have an LGBTQ plus Friends social twice a month at the Senior Center, and it's on Tuesdays. It's in our newsletter. It's on the web. It's, I think, the 2nd and 4th, I think. But I should have checked that before I came. But and then they also go to the Table Plenty and hang out and have dinner there, and then they have a social afterwards.
Yeah.
And I started that before the pandemic after going to an MCOA conference, Council on Aging conference, and they talked about the loneliness that people had, and that they showed something called Gen Silent, a video, movie, and it was a documentary about seniors who had been out but went back in the closet when they went to nursing homes or when they were in more like housing facilities where they
Right.
felt like they weren't necessarily welcome. So when we started our group, I was shocked because one of the questions someone had when they came was, we just want to know where we're allowed to hang out.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was heartbreaking. And where it's safe for us to go in town.
Right.
And, it was eye-opening for me. And so I'm proud to say, Pride Month, that the Senior Center is one of those places.
Yeah.
And it's been it's been great because now many of those folks were on Zoom during the pandemic together, supported each other, and didn't need as many services from the town, by the way, because they had created those connections.
Yeah.
And then, and now are part of my volunteer base too.
Right.
So it worked out win-win.
Right.
So,
When I was listening to what Jen has been up to, because you're always so busy, it just reminded me that our age-friendly program and the tagline "Livable for all ages."
Yes.
But we're actually doing the work behind
Right.
making it livable for all ages, because people have a lot of taglines and they just kind of attach to that.
Right.
But then there's no depth
Right.
to it.
Right.
So you're actually doing the actual work and putting it out into the community.
Yeah.
In real action, in real time.
Yeah, and as an example of that, last year we had the adults only drag show, and then after the success of that, I had so many requests to my office to hold a family-friendly performance.
so let's advertise. So the drag show is June 1st.
Everything's happening June 1st.
Yep.
Everything Pride-related is happening in Chelmsford June 1st.
Saturday.
We're kicking off Pride Month for the whole region, the Merrimack Valley region, which is really cool. So, yes.
And the drag show is at 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And it's at the Center for the Arts in
Yes.
Chelmsford.
That's the adults only drag show, 18+ show.
And it's $20 for adults and $10 for seniors.
Yes.
Love that. Love that. And then, so because of the popularity of
Yeah.
that, now this is the comment, this is the thing that's getting a little comment on
Right.
social media, like everything it does. But,
Right.
but so explain to me a little bit about family-friendly character drag brunch. That is June 1st.
Yep.
And it's also at the Center for the Arts?
Yes.
And it's from 10 a.m. to 12
Yep.
p.m.
Yep, doors will
15
open at 9.
Okay, $15 for kids and $25 for adults. And so explain to me what that's all about.
Yeah, so essentially, if you've ever yourself taken your children to Disney World or heard of people who go to Disney World and they take their kids to a character breakfast, that's essentially what it is. It's folks dressed up in popular cartoon character costumes performing for the children, and we're giving a brunch with it as well. So it's really all about, again, like I said, I had such demand for this type of activity. People wanted something that was family friendly. And so that's why we're doing it. And, you mentioned some of the feedback we've had, some of the negative comments. And, I'd like to just point out that, again, this performance will be very, very different from the evening show, which is adults only. Just like if you...
Not over-sexualized or sexualized at all.
No,
It's
no.
really not about that. It's
No,
more about
no.
brightness and colors of the
It's similar to, like, if you were going to an adults-only comedy show versus a family-friendly comedy show, you would expect that the material is going to be different.
Yeah.
And so this is a show that will be tailored specifically towards children. So that's partly why we have special ticket pricing for kids under 12. And it's something to have fun. And I recently read an article talking about the importance of these types of activities, because it's so important when kids are small that we lay the foundation of acceptance, right? Nobody's trying to tell any of those kids who or what they should be when they grow up. The message is, whoever or whatever you are when you grow up, you are loved and accepted. And that's what it's all about.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah. So, and if I can plug the one other event we have going on
Yes,
in between.
absolutely.
So also June 1st, so the family-friendly brunch will run from 9 to noon. Show starts at 10. And then starting at 11 a.m., our regular Market on the Common turns into Pride at the Market. So from 11 to 2 on the town common, we'll have our regular market vendors with our great produce and artisan food bakers, vendors, that sort of thing, and crafters and makers. But we also will be featuring crafters and vendors owned by LGBTQ plus members of the community. And then something really fun that we're doing this year is we're encouraging families to bring their children and bring a bike with the kids. And we're going to have a whole station set up with decorations for the
Or
kids.
adults who want to dress up or decorate their bike.
Yeah, we'll have a whole station set up for everybody to decorate their bikes. And then at 1 o'clock, there will be a parade around the common, because there's a sidewalk that goes all around, of all the kids in their decorated bikes, and get to show them off and drive all around the common with them. And I think that's going to be really fun.
I love that.
And of course, we'll be sharing LGBTQ plus resources and history and facts. And so that's a good time for people to get questions answered too.
And I'll be at the Common as well that day, representing the Senior Center, and with more information about some resources for seniors, because, you know, there were quite a bit in the area.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out too to our health department, because our health department will also have an information table there and provide, you know, factual health-related information for folks in the community.
And Danielle, you'll be there?
Of course I will, yes. I will be there throughout the whole day. Usually I volunteer. I hang out at the health department table or walk around. I'm a very open person. I'm an open book. I think a lot of people like to ask me questions for whatever reason. I don't know why that is, but I'll actually engage them, and that's fine.
I think they just feel safe talking to you. And just personable and being able to, just approachable for open
I
conversation.
think that's very healthy too,
Right.
for people
Yeah.
to be able to ask.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Like I have experience in my office at the fire station. I have one of my coworkers come in, and on my desk I have a pride flag, the regular rainbow flag. I have the transgender pride flag, and he looks and he points at the pride flag and he says, "Okay, Danny, I know what the pride flag is, the rainbow one. What is this other one? Are these people like more gay or something like that?" And I just responded, and he's a huge supporter of me. So I absolutely love this guy. And I said to him, "Well, yeah, sort of. It's the transgender pride flag. So, you know, yeah, there you go." But it's exactly. It's the time to ask questions, and I liken it back to like creating a culture of encounter, a culture of just putting myself out there, putting other people out there, and just showing people that, you know what, by and large, I'm not a terrible person. I'm actually.
I'll vouch for that.
Yeah, I'm a fairly normal person. I like normal things. I'm a baseball fanatic. I sing in my choir. I'm a cyclist. I do all these things. I like theater and sports and just about everything. And
You go to church.
I go to church.
You don't wear a feather boa at all times.
I do not wear a feather boa. No, not at all times. I do have a pink feather boa in my office that specifically for the Breast Cancer Awareness Month picture.
Nice.
That we always do at Town Hall. So yeah,
That's where it comes from.
that is exactly where it
A
comes
feather boa or two, so
Yep.
that's okay too.
But I think it's important to point out too, Deanna, you brought up a good point about like, you know, how you're just a person,
Yeah.
right? And, you know, I think a lot of people associate drag with folks who are gay or folks who are trans, but it's not about that at all. Drag is about entertainment. It's a performance art. It's as old as Roman times. People were dressing in drag and performing and you know,
Shakespeare, like you
Shakespeare,
said.
yes, and vaudeville times. And probably some of people's favorite movies involve some folks dressing in drag. And by the way, it is not just men who dress as women, and it's not just gay men who dress as women, because straight men do it as well, but it's also women dressing as men. We call them drag kings, right? So it has nothing to do with sexuality or sexual preference, and it has everything to do with performance and fun and entertainment.
Yes.
Expression.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, we're happy to support that. And just so you know, the Senior Center is also having a Pride event, and we're having an LGBTQ plus friends, all welcome, trivia social, and that'll be Monday, June 17th, and that'll be 2 to 4 in the afternoon with refreshments. And that'll be in our newsletter and also put out in social media and such. So we'll be having an event as well. So I have this part of the age-friendly, structure is about social participation, respect, and inclusion. And of course, we've been talking about all those things. And my job at the Senior Center is so often about just bringing people in to meet each other, to talk to each other, to be connected in some way, and to be respected, and for who they are, and regardless of age or sexual orientation, anything. And so this is something we'll be starting in the next month. I'm excited to start it right here, the Know Your Neighbor program. So I will be putting Know Your Neighbor pins out at the July 3rd Country Fair, and we have a lot of pins sponsored by the Friends of the Senior Center, but it's an age-friendly program, and there'll be pins that I'll be giving out, and with each pin that we have, it will be a series of conversation starters on a piece of paper. So you also get a pin and a list of conversation starters. So anybody wearing this pin is saying, hey, you can come up to me and talk. And if you have any questions or problems starting a conversation, you'll have the paper. Nice. So it's people of all ages, of all, everybody, interacting and being able to say, hey, you've got your Know Your Neighbor pin on. That means you're welcoming a conversation with me.
Love it.
And we feel like that's super important, because once you meet someone, it's hard to demonize them. Like if, Republicans and Democrats, once they meet each other and they're at the playground or whatever and hanging out, they realize they're people. And you can understand each other. Same with folks on, LGBTQ, and just so many different people understanding each other. And that's what we're trying to start here.
That's a great idea.
We hope that you take a button and wear it often. Is there anything else you wanted to cover that?
Let's just tell folks that they can buy tickets to either the drag brunch or the evening adults only drag show at the CCA box office, Chelmsford Center for the Arts. Their box office tickets are for sale now, and get them because they will sell out.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
They will. I still have that picture I took from up on the stage at the beginning of the show, full house.
it was so much fun.
And the important thing to note, I think, having it at the CCA is that it's a support for the CCA. This is a community that values the arts so much. And by having an event that sells out like that, and then there are the concession receipts and all of that other stuff. And then there was a donation that was made on top of what
Yes.
the ticket revenue. And so it really, I would like to think it helped the CCA. It's part of making that sustainable, which is also in the town's mission.
Absolutely.
Let's just say that, because people have, and I know we're just about out of time, but this is a question I get a lot. No town funds are being spent to put these shows on. It's all donations and grant funding and that sort of thing. And last year, the drag show was a moneymaker for the CCA, and we expect that to happen again this year.
That's great.
Fantastic. It's really great.
Thank you so much for your time. It was wonderful to have you, and I will see you on Pride in the Market.
All right.
See you there.
Can't wait.
Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful month.